So when you enter the exhibit, you're going to see this giant bush here. At the back of the bush, there's kind of like a breakaway where you see a path. He's sleeping right at the base of that path. You can kind of see the orange and black through the trees, through the leaves a little bit. It's tough to see, I'm not going to lie. Right in that front bush there. If you guys do miss him, we do have Tiger Mountain here at the Bronx Zoo, where there's 2 to 3 other tigers you can spot a little easier than him. And like I said, right in that front bush as you enter the exhibit, just stay seated, please, guys. I know it's a little tough to spot. I didn't lie to you guys. But tigers are apex predators, powerful enough to take down animals larger than themselves, such as brown bears. But they still share many of the same characteristics as a household cat, only on like a much larger, more impressive scale. So the tiger in this exhibit is named Anakin. And if you look around Anakin's exhibit, you're going to see all different types of enrichment. And enrichment is anything that keeps our animals mentally and physically healthy and allows them to practice natural behaviors. So, while you might give a house cat a scratching post, we give Anakin whole tree trunks. And this allows them to scratch how he would in the wilds. You might notice some of these antlers, and if you see this fallen log here, you'll notice there's chunks missing out of it, and that's because Anakin scratched them right off. And with claws and teeth and senses built for hunting, this is definitely not the Anakin you want turning to the dark side. But alright everyone, we're going to now be in the back of the Gower exhibit. And if you remember what I mentioned earlier with shifting, this is where the Gower will shift down at the end of the day. So if you ride them on around 4:30, you'll see them coming down here in great numbers. And now we're going to be in the back of the Conha Meadow, which is that first meadow that we entered. And we did see most of our deer species upon entry, but you can see a couple of tan ones out there. And those tan ones are called the black buck antelope. And the black buck antelope are actually sexually dimorphic, meaning the males and females look different. We also have a lot of peafowl here at the zoo. The males are called peacocks. The females are called peahens. So can you guess what the babies are called? Pea chicks. And as we come around this corner, I'm just going to remind everyone to stay quiet and, respectful, which everyone's been doing great so far. Because our next couple animals are rather sensitive and shy. So the quieter you are, the more likely they are to be present. Our first animal we're going to see is a babirusa. And the babirusa is a type of wild hog. And these hogs are very shy, especially our male who is in the first exhibit. And he has tusks facing backwards towards his eyes. And when you get to where I am, where there's a large break in the bamboo, I just want you guys to look left, and you'll often see him walking along that fence line. And in the second exhibit, you can't miss our female babarusas. The female babarusas are right at the base of that tree, cuddling together. They're actually besties.
Oh.
And these, like I said, these hogs are very shy, so they make incredible relationships with their keepers. And I'm gonna slow down a little bit more before we meet our next animal. And I'm just gonna remind everyone, you must stay seated and you must keep your hands inside the vehicle. Because our next animal is very close to the train and she's very old, so I don't want to scare her. But we're about to meet our 57-year-old Asian elephant. And 57 for an elephant is senior citizen level, so she is often very frightened. So just make sure you keep your phone inside, ma'am. Thank you. We don't want anything to fall on her.
Sorry.
So like I said, this is 57-year-old Asian elephant Patty. And at Patty's age, you can't tell her what to do. In fact, you really can't make an elephant do anything they don't want to do. Instead, here at the zoo, we give our animals choices. Please keep your phones inside, guys. So sometimes our animals choose to be inside. Sometimes our animals choose to be outside. Sometimes they choose to participate in training sessions, or not. And that's perfectly okay. Because of the strong relationship that our keepers have with our elephant, we're able to do, just sit down, guys, sit. Please sit, miss in the green, thank you. So we're able to do positive reinforcement training, which means we reward the behaviors we're looking for. So Patty will now voluntarily present her feet for regular cleaning, trimming, and general maintenance. Kind of like an elephant pedicure. And who doesn't love a pedicure? Asian elephants like Patty could be up to 10,000 pounds and eat up to 200 pounds of hay a day and drink 60 gallons of water. And if you ever want to tell the difference between Asian and African elephants, there's many ways, but the best one, look at their ears. Asian elephants have ears shaped like India, and African elephants have ears shaped like Africa. And I don't think they meant to do this on purpose, but it's pretty convenient for us. They also have a single finger-like digit at the end of their trunk that they can use to pluck a single strand of grass. And as we leave Patty behind, we're going to start to enter our next exhibit, and I want to point out this feature in the bottom right corner that keeps our next animal enriched and allows her to practice natural behaviors. So this mud wallow over here is a favored resting spot for our Indian greater one-horned rhinoceros. And our rhino on display today is named Priya, and I believe she's a little bit around the other side. So once we get to a safe spot, I'll speed us up so we can go find her. But this mud wallow is used by the rhinos to keep their skin cool, to keep their skin healthy, and to keep insects away. And while the keepers help maintain the muddy pools, the rhinos will use their feet and their horns to dig out the wallows just like they would in the wild. And believe it or not, these rhinos can also develop allergies and rashes just like humans can. And because of the incredible relationship that our rhinos have with their keepers, they were able to do allergy testing on the rhinos, and the rhinos were willing participants. We found out one of our rhinos here, Penny, has a sun sensitivity, and she needs to wear sunscreen every day in the sunnier months, just like me. She's really cute to see. She has like white smeared all over her face. But rhinos have incredible senses of smell and very keen hearing. But that can make them a little jumpy because they have very poor eyesight. And so I'll slow down so we can meet Priya. And she is relaxing in her mud wallow this afternoon. And this mud wallow that Priya is in has actually been here since the first rhinos were in 1977. She is truly incredible. And these rhinos also have extremely long pregnancies at about 16 months. And if that's not bad enough, when their baby's born, it weighs a whopping 125 pounds. That's a brave mother. But alright everyone, as we leave our rhino behind, I want everyone to keep their eyes out for 5 species of deer and 1 kind of antelope. And along the way, I'm going to let you in on a little secret about working with animals. Sometimes everything goes exactly as planned, and sometimes it doesn't. With so many deer species in this area, things can get pretty busy. But our keepers work relentlessly to maintain the herd and to track which females are expecting, but oftentimes in the wild, female deer won't show signs of pregnancy because it makes them vulnerable to predators. So when it comes time for a fawn to be born, that part is still up to Mother Nature. And that does mean we do have fawns born right here on exhibit. It actually happened about 2.5 weeks ago. And when a mother deer gives birth, it'll often hide its baby for the first couple of weeks in tall grass or thick brush to keep it safe. So imagine this. You're a keeper at the end of a long day, and in comes the herd. And you're expecting 5 fawns, but you only count 4. Well, it seems Mom has followed her natural instinct to stay with the herd, knowing her baby is safely tucked away somewhere in the habitat. So now it's time for a search mission. Our keepers head back out to look for a well-camouflaged fawn. And after a bit of searching, they find it and reunite it with Mom. Now, a final scan of the habitat is always part of our keepers' routine, but sometimes these well-hidden fawns can delay our keepers' dinner plans. It is all just an important reminder that all the animals you're seeing here today are wild, and they make their own choices, and we wouldn't have it any other way. So this area we like to call the uplands. So let's see if we can spot any deer. They do tend to like to hide in this back right-hand corner during this time of the day. So as we go past, I'm going to point out this kind of long, what looks like a dirt river. So if you look up this dirt river and follow it all the way up, in that back left-hand corner, you're going to see some nilgai antelope. And those nilgai antelope are the largest antelope species in Asia. And they also kind of look like they have little black and white socks on. Over here, you're going to see sitting along this kind of like rocky area, you're going to see 2 medium-sized deer. And if you look at the one on the left, you're going to see it kind of has knobs on its head. And that's a male brow antlered deer. And those deer are actually classified as endangered in the wilds of Asia due to habitat loss and conflict with humans. If you see those smaller, stubbier deer on the left there with the antlers, that's called a hog deer. And the hog deer are named that because, well, they're short and heavy like a hog, and they like to duck and creep under things rather than leap over things. And as we enter this next exhibit, I want everyone to look in that back left-hand corner along that fence line. You're going to see a very tiny deer sitting in the leaves back there. That back left-hand corner, kind of between those two. That is a little tufted deer. And tufted deer are 40 pounds fully grown. And they are rather elusive. So seeing that one in the back is probably the only one we're going to see today. So make sure you have a really good look in that left-hand corner over there. But we have 5 tufted deer, 3 females and 2 males. And the males actually have fang-like teeth that protrude out of their top jaw, often earning them the nickname vampire deer. And they use these fangs to fight other males for mates or to fight off predators. And I only spotted that one. If you spotted another one, please feel free to point it out. But even seeing one is a special treat, so count yourself lucky. And there's actually fewer than 100 of these tufted deer in the US, as they're very rare to find outside of China where they're from. Alright everyone, we're about to cross the Bronx River again. And at about 35 feet up, we'll be at the highest point on our tour. Below us is an important wildlife corridor where fish, turtles, and birds move throughout the city. And I actually saw a bald eagle fly down this valley earlier, which is a great reminder that there's so much wildlife, even here in the Bronx, that we can protect. And as we enter our next exhibit, I want everyone to be looking on the rocks and even in the trees for a type of wild goat. And these goats are incredible climbers, but they're best known for their long spiral horns on their heads that are used to deter against predators or to fight other males for mates.
LeBron!
And as majestic as we think these goats look, how a male markhor attracts a female markhor is a little less majestic in my opinion. So if you're a male markhor, you're going to stick your tongue out, you're going to wave it all over the place, and the females will come running. Now it's not really attractive to me, but luckily I'm not a markhor. And there's another type of wild goat in this exhibit called the Himalayan tahr. And the Himalayan tahr have specially adapted hooves with rubbery centers and hard outer edges that basically give it built-in rock climbing. And they use these hooves to climb near vertical rock faces. And like I said, all these goats are incredible climbers. So while we need railings and staircases, they treat cliffs like sidewalks. We see another markhor back there. And unfortunately, our red panda is not out today, guys. But if you do want to see a red panda, you can head over to the Himalayan highlands. And if I spot our Himalayan tahr, I'll point it out, but I don't see her right now. But alright everyone, we've met a lot of animals today. And we got a glimpse into what it takes to care for them, both here in the Bronx and in the wild. So now it's time for a pop quiz. Just shout out the answers if you know them. But number 1, what was the most numerous type of animal we saw on this ride today?
Deer.
Yep, if you said deer, you are right. Number 2, the males are called peacocks, the females are called peahens. So what are the babies called?
Peachicks.
Good job. And before I ask the next question, we're going to make a brief stop. So everyone please remain seated. For the last question, who of these is important in saving wildlife and wild places? A, animal keepers. B, wildlife scientists. C, guests visiting the Bronx Zoo. Or D, all of the above.
All of the above.
All of
That's
the
right,
above.
everybody. It's going to take all of us. Everything that you've seen today, from the herds of deer to Patty the elephant, are part of a much bigger story. It's a story about care, about survival, about relationships, but most of all, it's about conservation. And that includes you. Your visit today is an act of conservation, so thank you so much for coming. And if you want to have a bigger impact, please stop by one of our gates and ask about becoming a member. It is truly worth it. I'm a member myself. But now's a great time